Welcome back to another episode of the Mustard Seed Buying Company's Thrift Store Book Hauls. Today we're going to be doing some, what do you call them? Novels? Novels? Oh, novels. We're going to be doing novels. The stuff normal people read. We're going to start with Lois McMaster Behold. The Paladin of Souls. Don't know anything about it. Clean book. Usual. A novel. Not going to read that, sorry. The next two need no introduction because they're the most famous novels of the last 20 years, but 30 years. But got Harry Potter, The Deathly Hallows, and The Prisoner of Azkaban. Pick those up for. I pay full price for the Harry Potter books, so I think they were probably $6 a piece. I have both already on my back wall in great condition. I do need another copy of Goblet of Fire, but I want to say that's the one that my teacher gave me years ago, so it's still here. Then we have, sorry, there's some clicking because I take off the labels. Stephen R. Donaldson's Fatal Revenant. Fatal Revenant. Stephen R. Donaldson. The Last Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. You know, I don't know nothing about Thomas Covenant. I know that I see these all the time, and they're just interesting enough to me that I might. That looks like Gandalf, dude. That's just Gandalf. Is Thomas Covenant Gandalf? Is he Gandalf? Donaldson probably hates that fucking question. Sorry, that's Gandalf the White. Then we've got Stephen King's Mr. Mercedes. I have read 5 or 6 Stephen King Bings. That may be generous, 3 or 4. Most of those being gunslinger books. I do pick up his hardbacks when I see them, especially if I don't own them, because there'll be at some point I'll probably get into a couple of Stephen King books, but I know other people like him, so we pick those up. Boom. Ooh, we're gonna lean over because I've already finished that first pile. Okay. Sorry. There's a lot of books. Picked this up at Goodwill because it was cheap. Solo, a James Bond novel. It's not actually written by William Boyd, not the other guy, Ian Fleming, who, what's his face? Anson Wilson says was killed by British intelligence. But Solo, a James Bond novel. Memoirs of an Invisible Man by H.F. Saint. H.F. Saint. Listed that one online. Not crazy valuable. Now this next one is slightly more valuable, and it's a beautiful copy. It's a crazy beautiful color for the era. This is the book Philharmonic by Ruskol and Banai. I wonder if that pink paper was brand new at the time. So they were running it. They're just running it where they could. But this is 1971. I guess, you know, that's the 70s. 1971. $7 originally. Clean, clear, and under control. Neutrogena. That's the Philharmonic. This one I want to read. T.H. White's The Once and Future King. I've seen this book many times. I love this jacket design for whatever reason. Can't tell you why. Maybe it's just the tricolor classic elegance. And that Putnam design. Book club edition. Let's see here. Published in 1939 and then 1958. 1939. Interesting. beautiful book, though. I'm gonna read that one actually. Hopefully. This one I started to read 15 years ago when I didn't read books as a young adult. Man, there was a time when I didn't read very many books at all. The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner by Michael Chabon. Chabone. Got a Chabone to pick with me. Like I said, I started reading it. I want to say it's like a golden era, silver era adjacent bookstore publishing thing. Happy to read it again, but just such a beautiful cover. And I know that it's super popular. Then we have Sleeping Giants with Renee Denfeld. Boom, boom, boom. Not gonna read this one. Don't know anything about it, but picked it up. YA novel, clean condition, pristine. These are the kind of things that I use to build my personal selling library. Matt Haig, The Life Impossible, a novel. This is Ex Libris, withdrawn from the Loveland Public Library, so not too far from here. I've read Matt Haig's Midnight Library and thought it was completely forgettable. So there's another work of his. I might have a bias. I'm really not trying to be that guy that's like, I don't like new books. I read them and I go, what? Like there's supposed to be all this revelation in that book, especially. There's supposed to be like there was all this soulful and spiritual revelation the whole time, and it's just like, what is going on? Anyway, The Egg and I, bam, is the next book by Lippincott, by MacDonald. I actually don't know which one of those is the publisher and which one of those is the author. So MacDonald and Lippincott. Let's open it up to find out. By Betty MacDonald. So MacDonald is the author. Today we learned. I like this one based on the title alone. And this guy wrote Thank You for Smoking, which is a hysterical movie. This is Make Russia Great Again by Christopher Buckley. I don't know if Christopher Buckley is problematic or just liberal slop. His first national bestseller was The White House Mess, published in 1986, a fictional memoir by a presidential chief of staff. Buckley renounced political satire some years ago on the grounds that American politics had become self-satirizing. As they say in Washington, he wishes to revise his prior statement. Now, 34 years later, he returns to the scene of the crime, as it were, with Make Russia Great Again. So it's been 3 decades since he wrote a book, I guess, about, or a satirical book anyway, about politics. So interesting. And then we have Hisako's Mysteries. Not even gonna go into it. Another Ex Libris book by Jay Uchida, Yoshiko Uchida. Yeah, looks fun. Nice little vintage book. Vintage. All right, I've got one more stack to get through in this video, and then we'll move on to the next one. Bye. All right. I like to pick these up. I think I might have sold a couple of them because I was trying to pair it up with some others, but I didn't find the others, so maybe I sold them. But I like to pick up these Rick Riordan adjacent books whenever they're $1 or $2. This is The City of the Plague God by Sarwat Chadha, and that's just cool, man. He's got some griffins of some sort, tiger cats, or tiger cat wings. Animals of some sort on the cover. Pretty cool little book in pristine condition. So that's always an add to this collection. This next author has been canceled, and good for him and good for you for being so moral and not buying books by them. I just want to say I was watching this. I was watching this YouTube the other day. 10 authors I don't read. And I'm just like, if the answer is you don't read them because you don't like their writing, fine. But if you don't read them because of conversation around the author, like, unless that person is a malicious demon who's trying to program you through their writing, like, get over yourself. Great. Don't need to announce it to the world. Colleen Hoover went from having a successful career to these young women just abandoning her. And it's exhausting. You're exhausting as a people. You're exhausting as a group. Now, I say that, and then I'm going to say this next author's name, and I don't even know the story about what he's been accused of. Because I just don't care. I don't care. If he had, I don't know, tried to kill somebody or done any of that, like, he'd be in jail. So the fact that he's out and just being ostracized tells me that he's probably just really shitty. And as such, I don't need to worry about him too much. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of Neil Gaiman. This is Norse mythology. Never been the biggest fan. I've read his Coraline and Graveyard something or other, the Graveyard book, and then there was some other, I don't know, I used to listen to, but way back in the day when Libby first came out, I listened to a bunch of Neil Gaiman stuff, American Gods, and he's just never, he's never clicked for me. He's not a clever enough writer. It's just like stuff's always happening, great world building, but that's it. It's just all aesthetic. Like, nothing's happening to these characters. It's so interesting that I need to stick with the characters, and the writing's not compelling enough to just want to sit and read it. So Neil Gaiman's always been kind of if you like him, but never been my favorite. That being said, treat women with respect, I guess. Marie Lu's Legend Trilogy. Again, I don't know anything about these books. It's a little YA trilogy. Picked it up for dirt cheap. I don't know if they're good. Don't know if they're bad, but they look like they're fun. If you like the Hunger Games, you'll love these. I do believe they're some sort of a Hunger Games knockoff. So definitely came out in that era, but easy to pick up when they're dirt cheap. YA books always are. A Million Suns by Beth Revis. I apologize if I've talked about these before. Again, my piles need to get picked up and cleaned up a little bit up here. But A Million Suns by Beth Revis. I have one a lot like this downstairs if I haven't talked about it. But it's an unforgettable opening scene. Launches this riveting thriller about space travel, secrets, murder, and realpolitik. That's a starred review from Kirkus. It's been 3 months since Amy was unplugged. The life she always knew is over. Everywhere she looks, she sees the walls of the spaceship Godspeed. Dum dum dum. Okay. One choice will define you. Divergent, Allegiant. This is Allegiant. I don't know if this is the second or third one in those books. That's the Shailene Woodley movie series, right? Haven't read them. Again, what we're talking about is Hunger Games clones that they started mass pumping out. These turned into those god-awful fantasy books that have displayed covers and nobody should be reading them, but they cost $50. Yeah, I say that a lot, but I'm going to stick by that. Yeah. Then I have Thera Awakening by Stonekeep. I think this is like a companion book to some sort of series. Don't know much about it, but I picked it up because it was really cheap and looked fun. Then we have my last book that I'm going to talk about today, which is Prince Caspian by C.S. Lewis. Now, Prince Caspian is, I actually just read Prince Caspian, or rather listened to the audiobook version of Prince Caspian not too long ago. And I've got to say that Narnia is one of those books that it's like, it starts at an A and then every book gets like a little worse after. No, that's not true. But it starts at an A and then it drops like a 6, and they're all 6s after that. Prince Caspian suffers from that. This guy does nothing. He's got a book that's named after him, but this particular story has absolutely nothing to do with Caspian. Really, like it's just like he's in it a couple of times, but he just kind of menaces like 3 times. Like that's his whole thing. Like in all of the books that Caspian appears in, this one, and then the Silver Chair. It's like he just kind of like gets angry for a second once or twice, and that's the entire like the depth of the character. And then he goes, "Sorry guys, that's not me." But beyond that, like Caspian, you don't really have any peeking or insight into Caspian and who he is or what makes him tick. And the rest of the cast, you kind of do, you know. So Caspian is, you know, despite having the only character that actually gets his own title in the entire series, he is the most boring chum. But yeah, that is how we're gonna end that. Big C.S. Lewis fan, by the way, if you have to wonder. Yeah, I like C.S. Lewis, particularly his Christian writing, his adult writing, his nonfiction is pretty good. So if you ever are interested in any of that, he's kind of brilliant for that. And I've got over here, I've got all of his nonfiction and collected works. So big fan of Lewis. But those are going to be all the novels that we're going to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed my video presentation. I think I probably spent again $40 on those 30 something books, so not a crazy amount. Super reasonable. Buy your books at thrift stores for this reason, guys. All you gotta do is go and build. Love you.